Guys, I cannot find my hat. I've been looking everywhere.
You guys, we should search for it.
Search! Oh wait, I found it. It's right here. Search!
Welcome back to another episode of Korracast.
So we're going to be doing another big giveaway. Matt, give us the details.
So for our next giveaway, we have a brand new set of The Promise, parts 1, 2, and 3. So if you don't own them, you get all 3 parts if you enter our contest and you win. So what you gotta do is... So that's what you gotta do if you want to win this set of The Promise.
So, Sean, tell us what happened in this issue.
Man, we've been waiting a while for this one, right guys?
I know.
Okay, in part 1 of the search, Zuko's trying to find his long-lost mother. Of course, he doesn't know where she is, so he has to ask for Azula for help. The rest of the team doesn't really trust her, but in the end, she comes with them. But of course, she tries to escape being Azula, and as they try to chase her, they come across this giant, fire-eating, moth-wasp-vomiting, crazy wolf spirit thing. A crazy fight ensues, but Azula manages to send the wolf away with some crazy lightning ball thing. Anyways, during the night, Zuko comforts Azula with a blanket, but when he's doing that, he finds a note on her, and in the note, it says that he might not be the true son of Fire Lord Ozai.
So, we obviously have a lot to talk about this week. Big reveal at the end of this issue. But before we get into that, let's just talk about some of the things that we just liked and whatever.
I really liked a little bit of growth. We got not a lot, little bit of growth between Zuko and Azula and their kind of relationship. Kind of what it means to like be that big brother, big brother role. Like what it kind of means to do that.
To be a big brother?
What it means is you got to put a blanket on your younger sister when she's sleeping outside.
Yeah, okay.
That's all it means.
In all seriousness, I liked that touch. I mean, we've only ever seen Azula as just a terrible monster.
I think I like the tone of this a lot more. Just that it's an adventure, you could kind of get the sense that like they're, you know, very reminiscent of the original series. Just like, okay, we're going on a journey, we're going to find something. I do think they did a really good job, a clever job of making this, as much as it is about Zuko, I mean this is going to be a story about Zuko, about him finding something, they're broadening it to make it have global implications. And that I need to make good family for a good nation. And,
Yes.
That's exactly.
Make good family, form a good nation.
Yeah.
That is the point of Avatar.
Exactly, and I think it has larger implications for Zuko's characters.
What I liked was the big wolf.
The wolf thing.
I like the big wolf.
I like
That
horse.
was really big.
It was big and blue.
My favorite
Scary face.
when Misako was standing behind it, like, you fear my boomerang now, and it's like, no, they fear the big wolf behind you. It's behind you.
Yeah.
He puked butterflies.
I literally, oh my god, he's puking butterflies. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And
Anyway.
I also like National Tea Day.
National Tea Day does that exist? Somebody in the comment section
like
tell us
Great
if there's a National Tea Day.
Or Great
We don't
Britain,
wanna
or
Google it.
India.
We don't feel like googling
In
it.
any country
Well,
except for
the thing is that,
America.
like, when they all come back, Iroh is going to have turned the Fire Nation into, like, a Mad Tea Party.
All right, moving on. Why beat around the bush? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about it.
This talk.
Cut to transition. The big reveal at the end of this issue. Ozai might not be Zuko's father, and not everyone's happy about this. So,
The internet declared war.
the internet declared war against Mike and Brian, and we're here to kind of talk about the pros and cons of this development. Vince and Sean are going to be arguing the side of, yes, this is a good development, and yes, this is good for the story and an interesting thing to do.
We liked it, basically, is
Yes.
what we're going.
Yes, they're cool with
We're
this.
arguing that they didn't like this.
Yes.
You can't tell me what I think
They
No,
don't
they
know-
have some solid arguments, though.
about what I think.
Yes. You don't ever know what you
You're
think.
not allowed to like this.
Is the world still a computer simulation?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're going to be arguing the side that we're not on board with this.
Yeah.
What we're arguing on total doesn't necessarily reflect our actual opinions because we don't know what they are, ever, on anything.
No.
But those are the sides. So,
Fight!
who wants to kick it off with our opening argument?
Okay, Well, first of all, I feel that taking away Ozai from being Zuko's father takes away a lot of the importance that the original series had. The conflict between father and son, I feel like the significance is reduced because now it was founded on a lie. It wasn't. I mean, Ozai would have known, even if Zuko didn't, right? He knows who his son is. But well, I don't. Maybe not. Maybe
I guess
we don't know.
We don't know, but yeah, that's a valid
Here's
point.
one of the reasons I'm kind of for it. It adds more layers now to that whole thing. I mean, Ozai raised Zuko as his own son, where Zuko never believed otherwise that Ozai was anything but his father.
I don't necessarily even think that Ozai is not Zuko's father.
Okay.
Meaning, I think he still might be his father. But
Right, okay,
I do
that's
like their
potentially
development
true.
of how they did this as a plot device because, one, this is the first act of a story. Do they really think there's not going to be any further developments? So I'm tending towards that, okay, he might actually be his father. But I think it's important because Zuko, his entire character, and I think this story is going to focus on that, is his conflict between family and duty, to an extent, right? I want to be, and what's right. In this story, he's going to find that the family that he thinks he has isn't important. The family he really has is Aang and Katara and Sokka. That's what's important. So whether the blood father is Ozai or Ikea.
Well, I see what you're saying. That's a good point because in the beginning he's saying that I need to be a good family person because I need to be a good leader. Oh, and I've been neglecting Azula and Ozai. I need to be better to them. But really, that's not the right move to make. I see why he thought that, but you're right. Aang is his family. That's his family in truth.
I'm going to bring this up as a point for our side.
Overruled.
Okay.
Objection.
Okay.
Wait, did we win? I didn't even say anything, really. Good job.
I'm going to bring this up as a point for also for our side. And again, we don't know the true paternity, but this issue makes a point to bring up the whole Sozin and Roku
No.
relationship. Yes, it does.
Maybe.
Yes, it does.
Nah, no, I'm just trying to make you feel stupid.
Take that!
We win the debate. No, this issue makes a point to bring that up because when they go look for Ursa, they are specifically looking for a descendant of Roku. Did anyone find that an interesting plot point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the most powerful episodes, in my opinion, of the original series was the Avatar and the Fire Lord. And the realization that Zuko comes to at the end of that episode that, oh, holy crap, I have both of these sides of this ages-long war in me, and that's why I'm in war with myself. And the idea that Zuko might not actually have that heritage is, I think, upsetting to a lot of people. I think that's where a lot of this rage is coming from on the internet.
Well, right. I mean, the fact that he may not be the true heir to the throne is really what is going to spark a lot of conflict because then it would be Azula.
And whether or not your point is correct about this being a good plot twist, like, I could see, even if that doesn't end up being true, in the eyes of the fans, it's like, how dare you even present this notion to us?
But
you know?
that's what. But that's my point. I mean, anytime there's a twist, anytime there's a plot twist that makes you rethink what you. I mean, that's the whole point of plot twists, to make you rethink what you thought you knew.
Right, well,
and
okay.
they're not doing their job as
Right.
writers and good storytellers if they don't do that.
So I think outside the context of the actual world of Avatar, it is a good element because it's an interesting twist. But inside the context, I don't know, I feel like I'm seeing through their guys because we haven't been revealed what the Azula and Ozai plan was that they have 30 minutes together. I think this is the plan.
Right, that could be, Ozai's roundabout way of getting his throne back by having Azula on the throne because he wants it better.
And exactly, and Ozai having seen that Zuko's trying to make amends with the family thing, he would, exploit that aspect in Zuko and use that to make this happen.
So then essentially what you're saying is you're favoring our side, that is indeed a good plot device to add into the series.
Except that it's too thin. I can see through it.
Well, I mean, I think whether you could see it through it or not, that's different than saying that it's a horrible bad idea. Avatar's evil. The creators don't know. It's one thing to say, oh, it's kind of predictable, or I can see through something, and it's the worst thing I've ever
Well, I'm not saying it's the worst thing ever.
Well, I mean,
but I'm saying that's why I'm on this side of the argument, right?
And what if that's not the plan? What if Zuko really isn't the son of Ozai? Then what? Then how do you feel about it?
I mean, personally, I understand all those things, but personally, I don't think it takes away from anything because everything that Zuko's been through up to the point is still valid in my eyes.
Okay, let me just throw this out. This is kind of wacky and weird, but in the actual letter, the phrasing of the letter, she uses the word "our son."
Yeah.
Right? And that phrasing, Yes, she's talking to IKEA.
I mean,
But so that's who we think she's. But she did previously mention Ozai. She may have been referring to.
exactly. And Zuko
Which-
even says, "Our son."
Right.
Assume
So
that's how
maybe
he
he
says
just is bad at grammar.
Yeah. They needed a comma. There was
internet-
no comma.
If that is, then it's the biggest trolling in the history of
Right, it would
trolling.
be.
You know, Mike
Internet's
and Brian.
terrible.
Mike and Brian are sitting at their computer, looking at Tumblr, going.
Like, it's like, not only are they not giving us the answer to Zuko's mom, like that question that we're trying to figure out for like so long, but they're also adding on new
They're
layers.
stringing us along
It's a
even
whole
more.
level. Like, this is beyond any amount of trolling that's ever existed in the universe.
Furthermore,
We're through the looking glass here.
Yeah.
Furthermore, you guys, this bears gratification for me, vindication regarding my question in the last episode that she may have had another son, but really it was him. He was the other son.
Like, the thing is that, what are we actually arguing here?
I don't
Are we
know,
arguing
guys.
that whether
I
or
argue
not...
that you didn't like it. You didn't like it.
If
No,
we're
but
a
it's not-
strong
okay, first
family,
off, we shouldn't argue whether or not that you like it or not. You should argue whether or not it is a valid plot device to use at this time. Because liking it or not, I feel like I said, yeah, I like it. Yeah, I didn't.
Its validity is mitigated by the fact that it's thin.
How is it thin?
I mean,
I
I
saw through it.
don't necessarily disagree with that outright, but I don't think that it's thin. That therefore isn't causality of it being bad.
It is though.
I don't think it is.
But then you can just throw a bunch of plot twist, you guys, plot
No,
twist.
but
Edit that
there's
out.
different.
Nope, not a chance.
But I don't think this is just a random thing they're just throwing out for the fun of it. They're not just like plot twist, plot twist. They thought about this. This is
Right.
Like they thought
Right.
a lot of deal went into this, and they did it for a reason. There's reason backed up by character and plot and thematic elements and blah 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 blah. And whether you maybe think it's predictable and maybe you could see how it outcomes. And if it doesn't outcome, then it's not thin, I would assume, right? You'd have to admit that it's not thin if that's not what happened.
One more quick point. So Ozai is being a pure evil, right? And the idea is that Zuko was born a pure evil, just as Azula was. But through his struggles and strifes, he rose to goodness. Whereas Azula did not.
Right, it's not the origins that you come from, it's the choices that you make.
That's correct. Now, by saying that he is not indeed the genuine heir of Ozai, it is further establishing the fact that from
good
evil,
is good, is bad
from
is bad.
whence comes
Okay,
evil.
I understand that point, but you could almost say that for the entirety of how the world sees the Fire Nation. Because they feel like the Fire Nation, like anybody outside of the Fire Nation feels that anybody from that nation was raised by evil, and they are the epitome
and
of evil.
they're further establishing that point because
Right.
Ozai is pure evil, and Azula is indeed the proper
Heir
so-
of Ozai.
Therefore,
Okay.
she is pure evil.
Okay, see-
and Zuko isn't pure evil because he didn't actually come from Ozai.
See, the thing is, the fact that you're thinking this means that this was a good plot device
That's
because
exactly.
it's making you
Because
think
we're
that.
not arguing that Zuko is for sure the son of IKEA. We're saying that just the fact that they put that into our head is a
Yeah,
good thing.
the fact that the idea is in your brain.
That's a good point you're making, but that's a separate point than saying that it was a bad idea for them to even introduce this element.
Because essentially, like, what else are you going to do? Like, with Ozai and Azula's characters at this point, their powers are now meaningless. Their bending powers are meaningless. So it's basically their powers of deception are what's in play now. This is how they are still making an impact on the series.
Right. Okay.
Okay,
No,
right.
that's a good point. I mean, I like that. But if they were to introduce this element only to put these ideas in our head, only to be then just go, oh, just kidding, none of that was true ever.
I mean, I don't think they're doing it as haphazardly then. I think they're doing it for a reason to make us
yeah.
question Zuko and his motivations, his character, and what has formed it. But not, I mean, obviously us, but also Zuko himself, right? So that, I mean, where else? Again, this story is going to be about Zuko. We know that.
Yeah.
And how do you make a story about Zuko when he's already gone through this, and we already think we've had him develop as a character and come to a goal? We need to, as storytellers, you need to do something that makes them rethink that, or at least move forward.
But it's not up to us to suggest ideas and create the story. They're the storytellers. We're the reviewers.
I almost want to say that my biggest problem with this thing, even though I don't even want to call this a problem, is that this feels like it should have been a cliffhanger for part 2 leading into part 3. It was essentially like The
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back, where it's like, no, Luke, I am your father. It's that big, huge,
is a little bit like
what the
that.
heck is going on here moment where you're just like,
It
how
reminded
is this
me
possible?
of it reminded me of the end of The Matrix 2 also.
Yeah,
When the architect is like, you're not special, you're just the disposable number 7, the one that in the Matrix we're gonna destroy it, no big deal thing.
But that's what makes
Yeah.
me think that it's not none of this is not necessarily true, but it's not as game-changing because they know story and they know these things. They didn't just like, oh, let's randomly put it at the end of first issue. They could have put it in the end issue. They did that for a reason, and I think that's why it's not as big of a deal that a lot of people are making this out to be.
I think if anything could be said, just in general, it's that there's been such a long build-up over what happened to Zuko's mom. Everybody's been dying to know, and they've been stringing us along for a long time, and now we're here. We get to find out. This is our ride, and I feel like the creators are taking us for that ride now. This is what we signed up for, this is what we wanted, and this is part 1. I'd like to remind everyone that this is part 1.
Sure.
Let's wait to see what happens in part 2 and 3.
No.
Let's keep it simple this week.
Well, I guess it's kind of pointless to do the viewer response questions from last week, but let's just take a look at them.
I think Ursa had a runaway marriage and she was never found, but she would leave mysterious notes for Zuko anyways. I believe she was the main person in Zuko's grandpa's passing away, and so, because of that, she was exiled. Maybe into the Earth Kingdom, maybe into the remote ice regions of the North Pole. My favorite ideas, though, were that Ursa, as the granddaughter of the Avatar, had a connection to the spiritual realm and was hiding there. Another idea I really liked was that the White Lotus was hiding her, without anyone knowing the exact location, as she was constantly on the move. Ursa probably did remarry and have children. I wouldn't be surprised if Zuko finds her and she's got this nice, happy little life, and Zuko is all like, "What the hell, Mom? Could have told me where you were."
Hey, you guys! I really think we should do a National Tea Day.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. And I could bake a cake. Yeah.
And I'll bring balloons.
And I'll kill my dad!